We're about to go meet a snake. A snake.
Glute squeezed here, and then pushing these glutes back, and just groin open, so it's going to be...
When you feel like 2 sets of squats.
Try not to get my chin look like a little bit. It's obviously going to change the chest position.
So a bit more down.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more down. Just really try to think about where you're going to popping under your belt, maybe bringing the chest up like this, and your head with it. So just try to get there just a little more.
It's got it's my back as well, I'm not driving something up.
Yeah, you're not, so what you're doing is you're going, so just try to get rid of that, just really actually just stay down in this position here, as you're doing when you start the lift. And just again, just try that with like sub-maximal. Now we'll get to leg drive in a moment, but essentially you having your feet further back, your knee below your hip is going to allow us to keep stability through the hips, which is vital obviously for pressing. And that's why you'll see me, because I want to get my feet further back. I don't have to apply any sort of pressure to start arching in. I can just relax while I grab the bar. That's going to be my next point, so I'm going to grab the bar here somewhere. And it's when I pull myself through that I'm going to start applying force through my hands back down that way, and my legs will push me back that way, so I can actually create that extension. So one thing I'm looking for when I come through, my hips might get a little bit high, and I'm trying to really externally rotate through the arm, so through the shoulder here, sorry. Okay, that's going to create that extension, that thoracic extension. And I have lumbar extension already from the from pushing myself through anyway. Okay. I've got my feet here planted, pull myself through. Now start pushing this way. I can bring myself back up the bar. Half through. See how I use those force, and that's actually like a really hard position to get into if you don't really warm up or anything. Notice our face is probably a little red right now. So that's what I like to do, is really actually just compact myself into that position. And you can see that when I'm actually coming through this way. So now when I'm actually sliding back down this way, Shred, you want to come up and try and demonstrate this? What I'm starting to do is I'm starting to use the bar, so my shoulders are now in this position, they're really retracted, they're really far back.
Definitely, my arms, that's...
Yeah, so what I start to do is to keep them in there, I apply force to the bar, and then we're going to have some weight on here, so it's not going to move too much. Well, I might move just the bar. But I'll start pushing myself into that bench press to really get my upper back laid down on the bench, and that's not going to move at all. Okay, and then what we've got there is we should have 3 points of contact. So if we've got our upper back there, now our hips are on the bench. If we need to adjust our feet, we can sort of move them as we feel.
See, I find that really difficult. I have to get my feet up there and then almost place my shoulders down to get in the right position.
Yeah.
Rather than that. Maybe because I've got that shoulder flexibility.
Yeah, there's different ways to go about it. So if you want to look too far back, they lose that ability to actually drive this way. So when you're thinking about the leg drive as well, so actually think about applying that force through the heels and just pushing out this way, both sides really firm. And it can be really hard to do with slippery surfaces. And that does make a big difference too.
Because your feet have to be fully planted before you get right.
Yeah, your feet have to be planted, yeah.
It's quite high on me. Let me know, mate.
So like if I'm doing like everyday sort of training, like you know, just like doing a bit of hypertrophy that day, like just 8, 6, stuff like that. Then I won't take it to the extreme of like sitting up like that. I'll just sort of do what he did then. Just get up the bar, try to find a good press shoulder position, just bench on that. It's only when I'm getting like, for me, like 90% of the you know, like actually take the motion when you bring yourself back down.
Yeah?
It looks soft.
It's really high on me as well. Do you want to
Try starting further back this way. You know how like you're just starting there? Just bring your feet a bit further back. Yeah, maybe just bring them out push yourself down hard with the weight. Bring yourself up. Yeah, you hit high, yeah, that's it. Heels down, drive hard, screw the elbows. And move back. Nice pushing here.
Doesn't look like
Back. Yeah, deep breath, screw hard. And back. Yeah,
I thought that one was on.
I was even pulling, say, 300 kilos. My form was not good at all. You know, people would talk to me about getting sore glutes, and I'd be like, I don't get sore glutes. You know, like, it doesn't bother me. Like, I just don't know how to get them sore. My lower back's always sore though. What can I do with that? Well, it was pretty much because I wasn't using my glutes, wasn't utilising you know, a good strong muscle group. I guess I wasn't activating them efficiently. So basically what was happening is they were turning off, and I was using a lot of my lower back, and that was obviously being shown on my deadlift, quite rounded through the spine. And I was finding it really hard to progress. So one thing I had to incorporate was some glute activation drills, just some really basic ones. I liked one thing that I really liked was an exercise I'll show you just here. Similar to something you do with squats, and you can do the. This is for conventional, by the way, too. This is for conventional deadlifting. So this is my absolute favourite thing, just to get ready. I do this for every deadlift session, and then I'll be a couple of weeks that I won't do it, just to have a break from it, really. So all I'm doing is just applying force here, like I'm just standing. We've got this right up in my groin, obviously. You can do it around both legs, but I just like to do it one at a time. A bit of forward lean, and all I'm thinking about here is just sort of flexing through the hips. Okay? So it's like I'm going over to pick the bar up, really trying to actually keep a neutral spine as well, so I'm not just sort of folding over and doing this. I'm actually thinking about my spinal position as well, so trying to keep that spine neutral as I flex through the hips. Okay, so now I'm just going to mimic a deadlift, like a stiff legged deadlift. And as I come through, I'm really thinking about squeezing the glutes, so like consciously squeezing these. And for people who do lack the, I guess like mind muscle connection, who actually find it hard, like, oh, am I actually contracting them? You can just try even just putting your hands on your glutes and just coming through and just really trying to squeeze them to get the most out of it, okay? So I'll read this. We're looking for a good neutral spine. We need to load the posterior chain well. We're not trying to be in a compromised position. And we just need to think about how you actually want to pick that weight up. So there's different ways you can go about it. But the first thing we want to do is just approaching the bar each and every time the same. I'm really, really big on routine. It's how you make good change, and if you're doing things well, repetitively, they become second nature, so you don't have to think about anything. So what I like to do is I put my middle of my foot, so I just look down straight over the bar, and I pretty much think about that bar as cutting my foot right in half. So this is allowing me like a little bit of room for me to move my shin forward so I don't knock the bar when I actually want to go down and pick it up. Because the last thing I want to do is be right against the bar, go down and pick it up and roll it. Or some people actually like to roll it out like this and pull it in and then start pulling from there. Now, some people can do that, and I reckon experienced lifters can get away with doing that. I definitely would never teach it to someone who's a beginner lifter or has lifting experience 5 years and under. There was a time at a World Championships I went to, it was in 2013. I used to roll the deadlift like that. And what actually happened was the platform was almost like a soft carpet. So like I showed up and I'm used to training rolling things, this is a big competition, we don't like change. As soon as something changes we freak out, we're like, what can I do? So I didn't really know it at the time. I went out for my first deadlift and I rolled it forward, and then I realised it was actually so hard to actually roll this bar on this sort of carpet. It was taking a lot of energy to actually move it forward, let alone rolling it back again as well. So it really, really threw me off that day. So I just said to myself, well, what can I do about that? It's like, well, let's just not roll the bar. Like that's a training variable I can take away, and I never have to worry about that. No matter what competition I go to, the bar's going to sit on something. I don't need to worry about it. I can just pick that up like that. Okay? So that's just my thought process behind that. So what I'm doing here, like I said, building a routine, foot cut in half. I want to bring my next foot through. So that's nice and even. And these are pretty much just straight up and down. Okay? Now the next thing I think about doing is hand placement. So where am I going to have my hands? What's the strong? Really just teach them and taking them through the basics of a stiff-legged deadlift. So getting them to incorporate their hamstrings from this position here, and getting them to come through nice and strong with their glutes. So they don't necessarily have to go all the way down, but even just doing this sort of range of motion here, where they just come through and they're just hitting the bar essentially with their quads, just like we were doing the sort of same motion here, just sort of flexing through the hips and boom, coming through. The big problem I have is if I don't sort of bend over in that stiff-legged position and we're sort of like this, we automatically just put ourselves into that rounded position. It's really hard for us to actually use the weight of the bar to pull ourselves into a more neutral position. But that doesn't mean that it can't be done. Okay, like any tool we have, so like just like we said with the squat, we've got points of contact on the bench. Now this is our tool we can use to actually pull ourselves into better positions. I use an example like, who does front squats here? Yeah. What's easy to front squat? Let's just say we can all front squat 200 kilo, right? What's easier to front squat, the bar or 60 kilo? I'm just going to make a hole in the floor, pulling myself into it. So all I'm thinking about is I'm just trying to get myself under the bar, and what that tells me to do is really just pull myself down into the bar, into the bar, into the bar, and the bar's not really moving. Until I'm at a point where I've taken all that load, and the bar now has to move because I keep pulling myself into it. So that's when we can sort of get into that position. So I've looked at that from the side. And generally it's going to take at least 140 kilos, 150 kilos for actually the bar to stay on the floor for me. And the other thing too I'm thinking about is engaging the lats. So when I talked about before maybe on the bench press when we were looking at that, was that sort of just ever so subtle change in like elbow position. So if we're holding the bar here, we just want to think about screwing our elbow slightly. It's going to really get our lats in, like we're flexing our lats. So if we were standing like that, you can't flex your lats really if your elbows aren't screwed in, can you? Try doing that. It's hard to do, so you need to go fix your lats like that, like a bodybuilder, I guess. And you can still do the same thing even if you've got an underarm. You don't necessarily just have to be overarm. Do the same thing. So I want to be here, and I'm just going to go down like normal. So see, I'm pulling myself down, and now I'm really screwing my elbows, chest is coming through, back's getting into a better position, and my knees are coming forward also. But my knees aren't hitting the bar yet, they're just right up against the bar now. I don't know if you guys can see that from that side. But my knees are coming forward just so slightly, that they were just beside the bar, so now I can pull that, not knocking the bar forward. So it's just going to be straight up from there. So you want to come and try, spreading my feet like that, and trying to get my glutes activated, get them turned on from the top. So has anyone got any questions? But I'm finding that position from the top, whereas what I'm saying is some people go down and grab the bar and they sort of sit around here like this for a while.
Some people pull it as well.
Yeah. So that's the two different ways. You can either like just get it from the top like I do, but we also need to we've got other people here who don't do that. So when they're down here like this, just sort of getting ready and they're sort of in a lazy position, some people will just tend to go like this. They'll go like that almost. But what I'm trying to say here is we just need to get into this position here.
So as long as you get into that position, it doesn't matter the time. You don't have to.
Just strip some weight off the bar. So like a 5x5 might have been like with say 250. I just had to get back down to like 180 and do 5x5s, but just find a better position and just train in that better position. And then I'd find like when I went to max out next, my PR had gone up as well because I was training the muscles that are actually moving the lift itself. And then when I found like a bad position again, because let's face it, when we go maximal deadlifting, we're generally going to lose position, aren't we? We're going to go to that, we're going to get our leverage a bit better, and we're going to struggle to lock it out because it's harder for us to, like I said, extend the hips when our lower back's just taken over. So one thing I'm really big on with the deadlift, especially recently, is just taking some weight off the bar, training in a better position with for a longer period of time, doing some volume work like that, as opposed to using a percentage for our actual true 1RM, just sort of knock that back a bit and train the percentages off more of a technical 1RM. So we can actually train like the muscles of the deadlift, so like the lats, the hamstring, the glutes. So we can actually train those muscles and refine that technique with those sort of more sub-maximal loads. And then when at times it's actually like, right, let's max out now. Like we're just, at the end of the day, we're going to do anything to get that weight up. You know what I mean? Factors come into training, you know, I could go on about this forever. Like, you don't just go to Google and be like, how do I get the best deadlift? And one article comes up and it's like, oh, this is what you do. Because like everyone's so different, and then they approach things different mentally, physically we respond differently. So it's all about like, you know, speaking to someone who's going to really, you know, overview training, look at the certain things they're looking for that they believe in. Like myself, like having good bar speed, working on technique and improving things that way. Whereas some people like program, they're like, right, let's go balls to the wall like week in, week out, and that may work for that individual. But yeah, like things you need to look at is just like, you know, your experience in the gym, you know, how good of a deadlifter are you, how much experience do you have in that particular lift, what's your surrounding muscles like, you know, your back, hamstrings, posterior chain, how much of a foundation do you have as far as just being in the gym in general, you know, what's your motivation like, do you deadlift 100 kilo and your goals to get to 120 kilo in a year, or is it to pull 300 kilos in a year? And you know, it's how bad do you want that, and how much do you believe in yourself? So there's just so many factors that go into it. But you know, if we just want to do some like basic stuff, it's like one thing I'd really like to see in like most people's programs is like a good accessory and speed day on the deadlift, and then like a slightly heavier day. It's like twice a week, but that doesn't necessarily, well, sorry, twice in like the one split.
Yep.
But that split doesn't necessarily need to be in 1 week. So like, just because we train 5 days a week doesn't mean our training split needs to be done in 5 days. Like for instance, some of my favourite ways to train is like, for instance, right now, training 5 days a week, as much as I can really. I'm on the road and it's hard to train. I'm programmed to train 5 days a week, but I have an 8-day split. So like I have lower, upper, and each lower and upper days are different. So that means I'll train, say it's competition squats on day 1. I'll do that on Monday, but then I won't do a competition squat again until Wednesday or Thursday the next week, because that's day 1 again of the second cycle. But I'm not necessarily looking at that a week. So it just depends on where you're at in your phase. So like, you know, whether you just concentrate on strength.
Yeah, everything doesn't have to be programmed in a certain day.
Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah, into the 7-day week. So I mean, time's been made up, so we can make whatever we want up in programming. So I'll be doing things like that when you see people when they come down. You know, sort of like this position here, which is almost how I would have to do it. Let's have my hips really far out. So, and those are just some common mistakes. You're obviously trying to get more of an upright position, and you notice that when people get into that more of an upright position, and they maintain that, they don't sort of lose that positioning from the ground. That's why you see it sort of come off the ground and they lock it out straight away, because they don't really just fall to a bad position to get it off the floor, and then like you can do in conventional, and then struggle to lock it out. It's sort of just one range of motion. It's like one constant lift. Well, only really in a peaking phase that I look to actually do a proper deload week. I've never programmed it myself or for anyone. Like we're just training, say building some volume or working our way up to like a single, and then really just throwing a deload in there in the middle of nowhere, or like every 4 weeks, like some people think. I think that could just be someone's unmotivating, it's unnecessary. If you're going to do a deload, like how are you going to go about it? Is it just reducing weight or reducing volume? It's like, why doing that? We can either keep the same work capacity or increase it again. So again, like they do have their place, but it's just like, I believe it's, at least every 3 months maybe you might have a deload week. Yeah, when you really feel like you need it. I'm not a fan of planning a deload week. Because what if I'm super motivated that week and I want to go to the gym, and then now I feel unmotivated because I didn't go. So it's unplanned deloads is the way to go, unless it's planned for a peak, like the week before the competition, where we significantly reduce volume training days. Like I think I made the mistake at the last 2 competitions, opening too heavy, and like they weren't as fast as I'd like them to be. So like it really just throws me off mentally. I'm like, oh shit, I've got to add more weight to that. Like I can still do it, but it's like if I open 10 kilos less and jump straight to the next, like say like for instance I opened to 275, and my next attempt was maybe going to be 287 or something. The 275 didn't go as fast as I wanted to. Like I could have opened to like 270 or 267 and jumped straight to 285, but because 267 or whatever would have moved a lot faster, theoretically, then I would have been so much more confident going out for 285. So just being like really smart with your attempt selection, how you feel on that day, and just realise that sometimes it's not always going to go to plan, and just adjust that for the day, and just if you can, have a buddy like a gym training partner or a friend of yours, come and help you for the day, just to really keep you in your place and keep you honest. So like it's always good, someone that's always like trains with you all the time and knows like if that's a good day for you or a bad day for you, so they can really put you in a position to have a successful meet.
Did you have someone helping you with your attacks?
Yeah, I didn't do my attempts at all, man. I didn't say a word. So my coach at the time, JP, he just put my numbers in. I literally walked out of Worlds, didn't know what I was squatting in my first squat. It was just on the bar, I walked down and squatted it, didn't know what it was. And then I only knew what I was on my last attempt, so I put all my trust in someone else to just, to put what was needed on the bar, what he thought was there on the day, and he didn't ask my input, and how did that feel. He just makes his own decision and goes away. And he's in a position to do that because he looks at my training videos every week. I've got to update him every week. He's got my planned progressions, and I put my trust in someone to do that. And like sometimes it works for you, and sometimes it doesn't. So it's a tough one.
But warming up, do you think? Was it? Did you have a decent opener at Worlds, or do you think you should have been like that? Do you think you should have?
So like
in the warm-up room,
Yeah. So like.
Obviously we don't have the inside track, so.
Yeah, I know. So like honestly, man, what happened on that day, like it sucks, and I don't want to put the blame on anyone else. Like I'm not going to, obviously, it's my own fault. I did what I did. So like my last planned warm-up was 252.5 kilo, and I did that. And I looked at the video. I didn't look at the video at the time, but I've seen the video, and it felt really good, right? I buried it, felt super fast, and I was like, that was a good squat. And I was warming up with Owen and the other guy from Great Britain, I'm not sure of his name, so I apologise for that. Daniel, that's Daniel Bedford or something. Yeah, he's awesome dude. And I got out from that squat, that 252 squat, and I put it back in the rack, and I was like, fucking fun. I was like, yes, I'm finally firing. I'm like, because Arnold's never a good squat, even warm-up's felt like crap. And this felt good. I was like, that was deep. And the coach comes up to me from Great Britain, he goes, Brett, man, that was just under dead. Man, you got to make sure you get it like at least that or a little bit lower. And I was like, fuck. I'm sure I buried that. And I was like, because of what happened at my last competition, I only got one squat on deck. I failed the other 2 on deck, and it just threw me off. So I went out there on my opener, and I was like, oh, not a depth yet. Yeah, I'm probably a depth yet. And I was like, and obviously we know that.
So what you're saying,
Where is he? I'm telling him. So I just got a little bit psyched out. So I went out and again, it was like, my mental state was a little bit down after the squats, and I came back firing on the bench press and just didn't quite get it back in time for the deadlift. So what's that?
You saw it come over after.
I know.
Oh,
man, 100% had to. So yeah, it sucks, whatever. But that's me. I need to get stronger mentally, obviously. That's one thing I've always prided myself on. and you know, I plan to come back next year just as strong physically, if not stronger, and stronger mentally too. So yeah, I'll be back.